This is simply unbelievable, my friend. Just when it seemed like the storm had passed, a new bombshell has just dropped behind the scenes in the NFL, and the Eagles are at the center of the storm. There's a huge offer on the table, a negotiation that could change the franchise's future, and a player being touted as a key piece in a move that nobody, absolutely nobody, was expecting. And let me tell you, I got access to information that hasn't yet appeared on major news outlets. There's a very expensive star involved. There's heavy discussion about the draft. There's a player on the roster being considered as a trade asset. And if all this is confirmed, Philadelphia could experience one of the most aggressive off-seasons of the Howie Roseman era. But before I tell you what's going on and why it's making fans' hair stand on end, go ahead and like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Because what I'm about to reveal will surprise even the most seasoned fan. And get ready, the impact of this is much greater than you imagine. The Philadelphia Eagles began the 2025 season with a clear and urgent mission: rebuild their quarterback pressure and restore the dominant defensive identity that once defined the franchise. The closer the trade deadline approached, the more obvious it became that this mission could no longer wait. Thus, in classic Howie Roseman style, Philadelphia acted aggressively, signing edge rusher Jalen Phillips from the Miami Dolphins in a trade that immediately made an impact on the league. Phillips wasted no time in proving his worth. In his first 2 games in the green, he showcased explosive plays, displayed elite athleticism, and reminded everyone why he was considered one of the most talented edge rushers in his draft class. But there was a problem, a serious problem. Phillips will become a free agent in 2026, and to date, there is no guarantee that the Eagles will be able to retain him long-term. This uncertainty leaves Philadelphia dangerously vulnerable at one of the most valuable positions in modern football. With very few options to strengthen the defense, the future of quarterback pressure remains uncertain. In a city like Philadelphia, where defensive dominance is part of the identity of the time, questions like this never go unanswered. They block and disable quick answers. This is where the story takes a dramatic turn and enters the territory of blockbuster hits. According to Alex Kay of Bleacher Report, the Eagles may be preparing a colossal play involving Cleveland Browns star Myles Garrett. Yes, the same Myles Garrett who was not only the first overall pick in the draft, but also one of the most impactful and physically dominant defensive players of his generation. Garrett's most recent contract is around $160 million. But it's his game-changing ability, not the value itself, that's causing a stir in the NFL. Kay describes a scenario where Howie Roseman makes an unprecedented offer. Not 1, not 2, but 3 first-round picks in exchange for the all-pro pass rusher. The proposed structure is monumental. The Eagles receive D.E. Myles Garrett. The Browns receive a 2026 first-round pick, a 2027 first-round pick, and a 2029 first-round pick. The reasoning is simple and powerful. If the Eagles fail again in the playoffs or don't reach the level of title contention expected of a team built to win now, Garrett could be a key piece that reestablishes Philadelphia as a dominant force in 2026. And according to Kay, the Eagles would certainly consider paying the high price. After all, late first-round draft picks have developed into players who, individually, provide the same impact that Myles Garrett brings every Sunday. Together, those picks may never reach his level of influence, but this is where the speculation gets even more compelling. Before the trade deadline, league sources said Roseman had already shown a willingness to invest heavily in Garrett if he stayed. In other words, he was available to offer exactly that package of 3 first-round picks. This tells us something crucial. The interest is not hypothetical. It's real. Now, the question is whether Cleveland is truly ready to trade. Publicly, the Browns insist that Garrett remains a key piece for the team's future. But behind the scenes, frustration has been growing for years. Garrett has repeatedly expressed his dissatisfaction with the inconsistency of playing time and the endless cycle of bad seasons. While the Philadelphia Eagles explore massive investments in defense, including the possibility of pursuing a superstar like Myles Garrett, the front office needs to prepare for tough decisions. Big moves are flexibly off, and that flexibility often comes from identifying who on the roster can become a valuable trade asset. That's why a new report from Bleacher Report caught everyone's attention. The most useful piece for a trade the Eagles have for the 2026 offseason isn't a quarterback, a wide receiver, or even a defensive lineman. According to the report, the Eagles' main trade asset is running back Tank Bigsby, a player whose potential far surpasses the role he currently plays in Philadelphia. Bigsby arrived at the start of the 2025 season via a discreet but strategic trade with the Jacksonville Jaguars, a move designed to bolster the roster depth behind Saquon Barkley, who remains one of the NFL's most explosive weapons. The Eagles saw in Bigsby a guarantee of elegance and future value, all in one package. And even though he hasn't been used much week after week, the flashes of talent he's shown are impossible to ignore. The clearest example of this came in Week 8 against the New York Giants, when Bigsby electrified the field with 104 rushing passes in just 9 attempts. The performance immediately reignited the discussion about his talent, reminding everyone why he was so coveted during his years at Auburn: court vision, explosiveness, balance, and the ability to penetrate tight spaces. But despite this impact, Bigsby's opportunities remain limited, not for lack of skill, but because the Eagles simply don't have the space to give him the workload he deserves. While Barkley has remained healthy and established as the team's primary offensive engine, Bigsby's use will always be secondary. Add to that the rise of Will Shipley, a 4th-round pick in the 2024 draft who continues to develop and show potential. And suddenly the backfield becomes so congested that Bigsby's long-term role becomes uncertain. That's why Bleacher Report directly points to him as the most attractive trade asset for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's hard to argue with the analysts' logic. Bigsby is only 24 years old. He has a contract with the Eagles until 2026. He has already declared himself a starter in limited opportunities. And across the league, several teams are expected to face questions about the running back position in the next offseason, making Bigsby exactly the type of young, accessible, and high-potential player who could be the highlight of a trade. In 9 games played so far with the Philadelphia Eagles, Bigsby has accumulated 17 rushing attempts for 156 yards. The numbers may seem small at first glance, but the efficiency tells a different story. Coaches and scouts across the league know that production per carry is often more revealing than raw totals, and Bigsby has consistently maximized every opportunity he's been given. Teams rebuilding their offense or looking to boost their running game will see him as a ready-to-play option with the potential to significantly expand his role. It's also important to remember the awareness he brought to Philadelphia. Speaking about the trade with the Jaguars, Bigsby said, "I thought, okay, let's go for it. I just want the opportunity to do something great. I thanked God for that. I can't sit around complaining. This is the next opportunity. Now I'm an Eagle. Let's go." That hunger for victory, that determination, and that readiness to seize the moment make him even more valuable. Bigsby isn't a player who fears competition. He's a head-to-head guy, and that's exactly why times across the league will see him as a player worth investing in. With the Eagles considering a heavy investment in Myles Garrett, viewing Tank Bigsby as a valuable trade asset, and contemplating a complete roster overhaul for 2026. What move do you believe Philadelphia needs to make first to return to the top of the NFL? Bet everything on a defensive superstar. Trade Bigsby for more draft capital, or keep the current roster and focus solely on internal development. Leave your opinion here. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I'll be back later to update you with the latest Eagles news.